class, this is Mrs. Pemberton in Homework Helpfuls page 269 and 270. So the first one, you're looking at the example with the cone and the cylinder, and it's asking you what dimensions are the same. So if you look, the radius is the same, 6 centimeters on both, and the height is the same, 5 centimeters. The next question is asking you, how does the cone in the example compare to the cylinder in the example? And they're talking about volume here. So think of the water task. It would take 3 cones to fill up that cylinder. So the cone is a third of the volume. The next one, as you're looking at it, grab my pen again here. So suppose the height of the cone was tripled, okay? How would the volume of the cone compare now with the cylinder? So think about that for a second. If we triple this, okay, so if we triple just the height of the cone, now you have 3 of them here. There is a cone, and another cone. That's actually going to be equal now to that cylinder because it takes 3 cones to equal the cylinder. So you would say that they are now equal in volume. And notice only one dimension was tripled, just the height. Okay? All right, let's go to the next page here. And I started helping you with number 4 yesterday. So let's kind of finish up number 4. I'm going to give you a little more help with it. So as you look at number 4, let's look at the first one here, letter A. So to find the volume of that, notice we don't have any numbers, so we would just go radius squared times pi times height. Okay? Now I'm going to go to C. Notice that the radius has been doubled and so is the height this time. So I'm going to use my same cylinder formula, but this time my radius is doubled. And then I still have times pi, and I still have times height. But this time my height is doubled as well. So if I simplify this a little bit, I'm going to square everything in here. So that'd give me 4 radius squared, pi, and 2 times height. Now this looks a little messy, so I'm going to simplify just my numbers. I can multiply those. And I get 8 radius squared, pi times height. So it's exactly the same, except for this one happens to be 8 times bigger. And at first, people say that it's twice as big because they see things have been doubled. But if you think about it, it's a 3-dimensional shape. And all 3 dimensions get doubled. So it's doubled on the 3 dimensions. 2 times 2 times 2. That means the volume's actually 8 times bigger. Okay? We'll kind of start wrapping our brains around that. So next one, so let's go for B and D, okay? So on letter B, okay, if we're looking at that, I'm going to use my cone formula, and notice I still have double the radius, okay, and it's still times pi, and double the height, and then now I'm going to go ahead and divide by 3. So basically, it's what we just did, but now it's divided by 3, okay? So this divided by 3. I'm going to write that over here. So I'd have 8, and you could write it even 8/3 if you wanted to. Radius squared, pi times height. And then the last one, notice the height's been doubled, okay? But the radius is normal here, okay? So if we're going to go to the next one, all right, so let's go ahead and use our cone formula again. So we have radius squared, times pi, and our height now is doubled, and then we're going to divide by 3. Okay, so you could leave it like that. If you want to make it look like a fraction in the beginning, you could say 2/3, and then radius squared pi times height. Notice they still all have this in common, the radius squared pi times height. And that's going to help us on our last question here. So in the last question, it's asking you to order them from least to greatest, volume-wise. So since this is all the same, the radius squared pi height on all of them, I am just going to look at that beginning number here. So here I really have a 1. I have an 8 here, 2/3, and then 8/3, which is more than 1. 3/3 would be 1. So I'm going to order these from least to greatest. The smallest one would be D. Okay. Next would be A then, because it's 1. Okay. This is over 1, so B is next, and then the last one, since it's 8, would be C. Okay? And to explain that reasoning, I'm really just looking at this part of my answers because everything else is the same. So I can just order based on which number is least to greatest then. Okay guys, hopefully this is helpful. Thanks.